Hey everyone, Miss Wilkins here. We're going to talk about key signatures now, both flats and sharps. So we've talked about tetrachords, and we've talked about how we build, use the building blocks of music to create scales. And we talked about that if we want to start on any other note other than C, we have to make alterations. Now, if you remember, we looked at the scales G, and we looked at the D scales, and we looked at the E scales, and we came out with the number of sharps that those scales would have. So first let's talk about the order of the sharps and key signatures and what that is. When you look at a piece of music, the very first thing you're going to see on the very first line of music is what we call the key signature. We have our clef, and then you have some sort of notation with sharps or flats, and then you usually have what we call a meter. So 4/4, a 3/4. We'll get into that in some other videos. So we're just talking about the sharp flat notation that you see at the beginning of the piece, otherwise known as a key. So what that's telling you is that the piece that you're about to play is in a certain key, and the way you know that is by what sharps or flats that they list. Okay, so let's look at the sharps. The sharps have a very particular order that they appear on the staff. And I just remember Francis can go driving after eating breakfast. Now there's one phrase that I really do use. Francis can go driving after eating breakfast. So what that means is the sharp that comes first in that little passage is F. Okay? So if I was to write that on the treble clef, the belly of the sharp has to be on the line. So, remember we said that G major had one alteration or one sharp, and it's F sharp, and there you go. So when you look at a piece of music, you're going to see that one sharp. Okay, so what if I was looking at D major? Well, let's do the alto clef. Now remember, D major had two alterations, so we would need F and C. So we're going to find F sharp, and we're going to find C sharp. And that tells us that every F and every C in that piece is going to be sharped or raised 1/2 step. So that's what a key signature would look like in the alto clef. Okay, well let's look at E major. E major, we said we had to make 4 alterations, right? So F, C, G, and D. So if we did that one, and we're going to start on F sharp, we're going to add C sharp, we're going to add G sharp, and we're going to add D sharp. So that would be the key signature notation for E major, or a piece that starts in E and uses that scale in the bass clef. So it would look like that. So again, my sharps are in a particular order. They're not just thrown up there, okay? Now, let's look at the flats. Flats have a similar need. They have to be in a certain order. If you reverse this, in other words, if you go this way, you get this notation, bead, GCF. And that is the order of the flats, okay? So let's take a look at F major. We said we needed one flat or one alteration to make that sound correct. And that is going to be B flat. Just make sure I make it pretty. Okay, so there's your one flat, B. Okay, so what if I go to B flat major? Well, we said in B flat we had to make 2 alterations. So we're going to add, and just have to think, because I don't do theory in alto clef as much, B, and we need an E. Okay, so there are 2 flats in the alto clef if I was in the key of B flat. Okay, E flat major. Okay, so we're going to need we're going to need 3 flats for E flat. So we're going to need, let's make sure I get this right, B, E, and A. Okay? I believe that's right. Yeah. Now, there's a couple of little tricks that you can do to figure out key signatures. So say I can't remember the key signature. I can't remember what scale or what scale this is, 4 sharps. I can't remember what is that. If I take the last sharp, in other words, it's D here, and I go up a half step, that gives me the name of the key signature, E major. Okay? And then for flats, if you, in the order of the flats, you want it, if you have 2 or more flats, you're going to look at the next to last flat, and that's going to give you the flat. So, say for instance, we've got 2 flats here. The next to last one would be this one, which would be B flat. So it's sort of a silly example. But what if we had E flat? We've got the 3 flats, 1, 2, 3. The next to the last one is the E flat, and that gives me my name of the key signature. So those are a couple little tricks. Of course, it doesn't work with F, right, because you only have 1 flat. So you got to memorize that 1 flat is F. But that half step thing does work with 1 sharp, right? If you go up 1 half step from F sharp, you get the key of G major. So that's an easy way. If you've got sharps, just take the last sharp and go up a half step. That should give you your key signature. For the other flat trick, you're gonna have to at least have 2 or more flats for that to work. So just write these little things down, put it somewhere. Try, the sharp trick and the flat trick to translating key signatures. And also this little, I remember this one, B, G, C, F. And then if I need a sharp order, I just go backwards, okay? So I really just remember this one, B, G, C, F. And that will give you the order of the flats and the sharps all in one little memory device. Okay, guys, that's pretty much it. This should explain to you how to identify key signatures and how to figure out how to draw a key signature. If you need to go from what scale am I in and then write the key signature, you know that you have to write them in order. Making sure that the flat belly and the sharp belly are on the line or space that you're trying to denote. They have to be you have to be careful where you write them. You just can't write them, anywhere. It has to have that middle part over the space or the line. Okay? All right, guys, I think that about does it. This is it, key signatures. Thanks a lot. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.